welcome to the room. Thank you for coming. We are about to dive deeply into a synthesizer. We love diving deeply into synthesizers. You never know what you're going to find, where those knobs are going to end up, what kind of strange sounds you're going to end up with. So today we've chosen to dive deeply into the Toybox audio synth, the Buzz Zone. It's a new synth, and it has a place in its own. It has a place of its own on the shelf of all the synthesizers that we are exposed to as consumers of software synthesizers and effects. This stands on its own, I think. This has a little place on the shelf of its own, and let me explain why. It isn't Omnisphere. It's not a power synth. It's not an enormous synth with zillions of samples and crazy modulation matrices and tons of layers and all the rest of it. It is a boutique synth. It is a boutique synth with quirky features. Standard features, obviously. We need some standardization across these experiences, and we all know what to expect when we get a synthesizer. We all think there's going to be an oscillator that makes a sound, and that's going to go through, or maybe there's two oscillators and they'll go through a filter and then possibly an effects chain at the end of that synthesizer. This is no different in that regard, but the access to the sound has been, there are limitations, and that's where often the power lies, in well-designed limitations. And I think the features of this synthesizer do well to limit the user functionality, but also give you beautiful power. Some crazy noises are possible with this thing, noises you won't be able to get in other synthesizers. This I promise you. And that on its own makes it a wonderful little addition to your collection of synthesizers. So let's have a look at Buzz Zone. Where do we start? Let's start in the top. Let's start, as we might like to do, with global controls. Along the top here, we've got some global controls, and these are speed, which relates to the whole synthesizer, because all the controls down here we see are managed and changed / automated, by breakpoint envelopes, by multi-segment breakpoint envelopes. And these are just a line of dots in a row that make a pretty picture and describe the movements of the knobs beneath them. So this is the Unison knob. This will be describing how much the Unison voices are joining you in your sonic journey. Here's a wavetable position knob. Filter, we know what filters do. Here's an FM depth knob. Obviously, all of these have their own breakpoint envelopes, and there's a level knob for describing the volume of your synthesizer. This half here is the synth half, and this is the wavetable half. You can load the wavetables here. We include a ton of them. There should be enough of a collection there for you to enjoy some noises, and you can obviously just dump your own in as well. I think it conforms to the Serum standard. I think it's 2048 samples per frame. I think I'll correct that with text on the screen if necessary. And this is the single wavetable envelope we've got. That's the wavetable envelope. Let's just quickly move over to the sample. That's the wavetable synthesizer. Here's the sample engine as well over here. We've got a load of samples included. For different reasons, originally this was thought to be a kind of D20, D50 kind of linear LA synthesis kind of thing, where you have a transient to describe the beginning, the sharpness of the beginning of the sound, and then wavetables to flesh out the body and sustain of the sound. But it turned into a little bit more, as these things always do. So there are a load of attacks in here that could be used to initiate a sound, and obviously the wavetable does the other half of the sound. But these are also entirely usable samples that you can just load up and just have as your woody sound, your wood log. Your loggy sound. There's also some other little features here as well. We've got a little widening trick here, so just like slight detuning of the waves of the samples to give them a bit of width. And we've got a filter here as well with some similar kind of functions to this filter here. We'll look at this more closely in a moment. And we have the volume level envelope here. Obviously all of these, including the filter and the pitch, are modifiable by the multi-segment envelopes, and as is the level as well. This little extra knob here, these little knobs with the exclamation mark, are FM depth. So this little FM engine here, that's part of the wavetable side of things, this can affect the FM. Well, you can FM the output of the FM engine over here against the sample. So you can basically FM the sample if that's what you want to do. If that's what you like to do, that's what you can do. It's great. And this is a self FMing engine here that just does self FMs itself to itself, and you get madness, beautiful madness. It's a great engine for instant. This wavetable side of the engine is really good for dissonant, like bells and stuff. There's loads of crazy things. So let's just go through these harmony modes over here. And stop that. Let's get back to a nice standard Oh, here we go. So we've got a little menu up here as well. Let's just cover this. Copy envelope, paste envelopes around from knob to knob. And we can modify it, flip and reverse it. Flip, reverse it. That's a thing, isn't it? And clear the envelope as well. Obviously, that's what we want to do here. So we've got a nice static tone, static note. And let's look at these harmony filters. So we're going to turn up, this is the volume of the harmony. And this width knob here, did I cover these global controls? Let's cover them quickly. So this is a speed knob. This describes how quickly the envelope is going to be traversed. Super fast or super slow. And as you can hear, the harmony oscillator is obviously being tracked as well by this main pitch envelope. We've got a release knob here. So to finish off with the speed knob, all the envelopes are affected by this, every single one of them. There are other things going on when we engage looping and re-triggering and that kind of thing, but we'll get to that later. In its clean, pure form, the speed affects all the envelopes equally, and they're all traversed. You know, you can see a little what do we call this? A little kind of travel icon showing you where it is in the envelope, going through exactly the same speed on all the envelopes. So let's look at these knobs up here. So we've got the release, which obviously we know what release does. That's classic synth territory. And we've got a master tune here, which is very handy. And we've got the stereo widening knob here, the width. And this widths up when you have a harmony engine enabled. If you don't have a harmony engine enabled, the sound remains mono. Mono meaning, you know, in the middle of the stereo field. So I don't know if you can hear. There's a note come in a fifth above the current note, an octave and a fifth above this note. Excuse me. And that is shaped. So we use the width to spread them out. So we've got the root note on the left here and the harmony note on the right, the high octave. And this extra knob here, this knob beneath the main position slider, which, you know, allows us to traverse the waveform, has an offset. At the moment, if we put it at 0, then both of the harmony engines are going to be playing the saw wave at the moment. And you can sort of hear that. But if I switch that to that, it's super clean, super sine wavy. You can barely hear that because it's not as harmonically rich as the saw wave on the left speaker. But you can basically change the waveform of the harmony oscillator. Wow, that's high, isn't it? Nice. And so I'll leave that on that nice sound at the moment. We can hear what's going on. We'll just flick through these harmony modes. So we've got thirds. That was a fifth. So it's an octave and a fifth above. This is an octave and a third. Good for car horns. And here's another car horn. Nice. And then we've got an octave here. Always need an octave. Obviously, we can pull these together into the middle of the stereo field. and have them kind of working more together rather than being separate. Or you can do your own crazy mid-side stereo field management after the plugin. Let's see, we've got an octave, we've got we need unison, obviously. Everything play the same note, please. And then we can turn unison up, and then we get tons of everything playing the same note. It's nice. Let's put this back to 3, okay. So where were we? We were looking at, so this extra knob beneath the position slider colours the harmony engine oscillator. So that was unison. Let's go below. Ooh, octave below, nice. And we've got fixed, which basically leaves one oscillator. As you can hear, it leaves the harmony oscillator alone and pitches the root around. Let's turn that down. So you can kind of re-weight the sound. Right, you'd expect the note to be playing the root note, but in fact the prominent note of that, the prominent kind of fundamental of when you press a note down is the fifth. It's nice. And let's keep going. We've got an FM mode, which FM's the oscillator on the side. So let's... It's unaffected by the main FM engine. But this knob describes the depth of the FM modulation, also, as you can hear, as it gets fiercer. And we've got an AM function as well. All these interesting, subtle ways of touching the sound. Just put it back to saw waves. Let's check out ring modulation. That can always go a bit mad, can't it? Nice. Let's just go for a different crazy wave. Let's have a look. If you notice, I've got the pitch not quite directly at the octave, so we just get a tiny bit of movement that you end up being able to hear that tiny bit of movement higher up the octaves. You can hear that beating, the pulsing, but low down. Just turns into a very slow movement. Anyway, that's AM. Let's just put this back to another fun shape. What we got here? We got filter FM. Oh yeah, this is meaty. We like this. Let's put that back to an octave and bring the filter down. And you can hear that squirting at the top. That's the filter being modulated by this waveform. And if we turn up the resonance, you can... Oh, there you go. You hear that other note just popping over to the right, like an octave below. That's a product of the filter being modulated at audio rate by this particular waveform. Oh, there we go. There's a sweet spot. Turn up the resonance. These oscillators, these filters... Oh, let's just get to the end of these harmonies. Actually, no, let's touch on these filters for the moment, because this is kind of going to be exploiting... So if we turn that whole FM modulation down, we get that. Obviously, the filter's really low, there's no envelopes affecting it. But if we turn up how much we're modulating it by an audio rate, by this wave, by this shape here, it kind of highlights the character of the filters, so we can switch through. Oh. Ooh. Excuse me. And then audio rate modulation, that's what we like. Oh yeah, that instability. That's it. Oh, this ended up being a let's explore crazy noises. Why not, I suppose. So that's the FM filter modulation, which people like, especially when you're doing good audio rate modulation, which is what we do here. I mean, there's a few other filters here, obviously. They've got different characters, as these filters do. Classic 4-pole, ladder, kind of moogie. OTA, what's that? Is that a Korg thing? This is the silent key. That's the MS-20. So that's a Korg thing, isn't it? I can't remember what OTA is. State variable. Kind of, you know. Let's have a listen. Oh, beefy, noisy. Let's just turn that down. Oh, so see, it's these instabilities that appeal to me as a person wanting nice noises. I don't want stable. I'm bored of stable. I want things to be on the edge of breaking. Anyway, that's me. That's kind of what I like. Maybe you're not the same. But this is kind of the appeal for this kind of boutique style synthesizer, where it's kind of got strange edges, you know. And we like that. We like a little bit of what's going to happen. Is it going to do what you think you thought it was going to do? Because, like, life isn't as predictable as a mod matrix, you know? As a perfectly curated modulation matrix. So let's just carry on through here a little bit. There's a couple of other filters here. That obviously the quality of which is exposed when we modulate them at audio rate. We've also got a function in the options window which enables you to turn on high quality filters, which adds another bit of circuitry to the filters that it's kind of like oversampling, but it's not. It's a different kind. I think it's similar to that ADA thing that Crystal Air Windows talks about. It's but ultimately it doesn't alias as much as a circuit that doesn't have this kind of treatment in. And because they're zero delay feedback filter style circuits, you need bits of instability, and these high quality filter check adds tiny little bits when you're massively exploiting these filters, high resonance and wanging them around with your breakpoint envelopes and whatever else you're doing with maybe frequency modulation. it really sticks out. So enabling high quality filters on some presets is very, very handy. Let's just carry on here with these options here. So let's just open that, close that, bring that down here, make sure that's at 0. And what have we got here? We've got the sub filter. Oh yeah, so we've just got on one side will be just a sub. It's just a sine wave at the same pitch of the as the current pitch of the oscillator. Just to add, because sometimes you might find that a sound you've got in the wavetable doesn't actually have much low end content. Like one of these, for example. So you want to add, just to reinforce the bass, you might just turn up this oscillator, the harmony oscillator in sub mode, and you get just a little bit of extra low end reinforcement. And the last one does exactly the same, an octave below, with my incredibly low octave voice. Ooh, that's nice. Nice. Low. So that's the pitch knob and the harmony functions. Covered the Unison. This is basically, this is a volume knob for the other layers. Let's just put this back to something a bit more exposing of the artifacts of things. So that's just basically a volume knob, and this describes how thick the Unison effect is, and that obviously works across all the oscillators. All the wavetable noises. You could just stick any old wavetable noise in, and it will unison that. We've done that. So we've done the Unison. Let's turn that down and explore. Oh, we've done that as well. So this is as I mentioned, this is the offset for the harmony oscillator, and for feeding the oscillator to the filter FM function as well. What have we got next? We've got the FM function. So ultimately, this filter is the last stage in the path of this wavetable little oscillator sort of thing here. Out of the FM we go, into the filter. And then that's what get filters. So let's just kind of... And you can do your crazy FM. Let's put a more normalish sounding set of waves in. Nice. And you can make it incredibly dissonant and harried. Nice. Nice. There we go. Hit that, whatever it is. And obviously we can FM itself back on itself. Craziness. And I just like doing FM into weird shapes. What is it doing? Right, so let's turn that down and find our sanity again by turning that down and turning this down. So we're back to our basic oscillator. And let's look at the sample layer. Now this look at this, 3 knobs. You've got 3 knobs to do everything with. Actually, it's enough, I promise you. So what do we do first? Let's say we just load up a bass. You can wang it around, stick it in another octave. If you've got like a synth noise, we've got a load of synth noises, crazy synth noises in here. Look at all them, wow. Okay, let's just load one up. And it's like really high. Let's turn it down. turn it into a bass noise. Obviously, most of these knobs have got, you can double click beneath them to put an exact value in. Nice. Madness. Let's look at these filters. Hold on a minute, did we do them? No, right, okay. Right, we're going to look at the filters over here, and we'll discover a few more over here when we get to them. But these ones over here, let's stick a nice sharp sound in to highlight these filters. Let's just have some kind of... There we go. So let's walk that down, because we're going to be listening to the filters. There aren't the high quality. These filters are high quality, but not the same kind of ladder and Saarland style filters that we've got in the wavetable area. But there's some brilliantly characteristic filters here. You can see them, they're not even filters anymore. Look, we've got multi-notch. So what have we got? We've got a low pass. Let's just do like some stuff. Let's just hear them. Speed it up. Speed up a bit. Turn them. I think with the resonance knob, the resonance goes up, but we also add a little bit of internal saturation. And I think the same goes for the band pass as well. Adds a bit of drive. And we've got the high pass as well. Does what you'd expect all these things to do. And we've got a particularly resonant low pass there. Very resonant low pass there on the resonant knob. What else we've got? Vowel. These are pretty mad. And this knob of kind of, you know, accents the... This is, you know, a kind of couple of bandpass filters in a row, and this increases the resonance. I don't know what it's saying. Sounds like some crazy alien language. Got a multi-notch filter here. This is pretty nuts. So what this does is it's similar to what we use in the physically modelling world to create kind of the sound of resonant objects. So it can sound kind of vocally. But it ends up being kind of metally, chimey. Ooh. Yeah, so that creates more kind of physically modelled kind of noises. There's a realness to them, a kind of resonant nature to them. I think when we push this knob to the extreme, it changes the relationship between these notched EQs, these peaking EQs that are doing the resonant kind of modelling sound, the kind of peaks you can hear. It changes you can sort of hear the distance between these peaks changing. Quite belly. Nice. Spooky. And let's keep on going. We've got a comb filter here, which again is used to usually model things like strings, that kind of sound. And this again has some extreme settings. Now I believe, yeah, so we've got that raw saw sound. Oh no, hold on, it's this raw saw sound from a JP8000 going through this. we can kind of hone in on which frequencies we want to feed back into this comb filter. Ooh, that's ugly. And again, you can push this to uncomfortable extremes. Oh. And again, all these can be I don't know what that sound is, but it's pretty lovely. We've also got a, let's just clear that. We've got a kind of bit reducer thing here as well, but it's using like Dave's cool construction of kind of analog to digital conversion stages. Bit reduction, bit of jitter. You can hear it's quite unstable. There's lots of grain happening in there. And this, I think, introduces a low pass, and you can hear like sample rate reduction going on as well. This is good for, imagine doing this to that. Ooh. What a greedy little sound. So my machine's struggling to capture the retina display and do the sound at the same time. Normally you'll just be making the sound, not doing a ton of other screen captures and audio captures. But that's pretty nice little kind of bit reduction, quality reduction process there. Frequency shifter. This is nice. So let's just turn off the modulation there and see what we've got. So we've got, I believe this adds a kind of touch of so this is where the main frequency is shifted. The main kind of center of the frequency shift, and it's excellently atonal. Who knows where the center of that noise is? Oh, I've got no idea. If we pull it right down there, yeah, you can hear the pulsing of the frequency shifting operation, which if you know, you know, and you'll be able to hear it. But obviously the faster those amplitude operations work, the less you hear them and the more it turns into sidebands, to craziness. Really powerful. Excellent for ugliness, for atonal, disharmonic, enharmonic madness, as usually are ring modulators as well. This is quite a beefy. Ooh. What's that little mechanical? Blah, 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 blah. That's not part of this this sound. Oh, isn't that lovely? It's like the little mechanics on a travel clock, carriage clock. Ooh, lovely. Oh, that's nice, that, isn't it? We've got a chorus as well. Now this, let's bring that down to normal. Oh, so this, I don't know if you can hear it, but the chorus, the rate of the chorus, it must be the rate. No, it's the depth of the chorus is being tracked by keynote. So you're getting this strange... I mean, have you ever had a... This is a unique part of the synthesizer. Have you got a chorus line in your oscillator chain, a polyphonic chorus, which is basically what's going on here? Oh. 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 Oh, that's nice, isn't it? Sounds really syncy, even though there's no sync going on there. It's a chorus operation. And we've got a little vocoder as well. This will be explored in more detail in another separate video because it's an interesting little aspect of this plugin. But ultimately, yeah, you've got a filter. You've got a vocoder, sorry. You can vocode anything in here against anything in here. Pretty much. That's how it works. But we'll look at that in another... Well, I'll do another video for that because the vocoder is strangely deep. Anyway, let's look... I think we've covered all the main aspects of this interface now. So I'm just going to look quickly at the options page. As every good synth has a healthy options page full of wonderful options for you to disable or enable. So what we've got here, we've got MIDI resets oscillators. We know what that does. That's just going to start all the oscillators at 0. I've got them off at the moment because it's kind of analog, free running kind of experience. Turning it on will restart the wavetable oscillators from the same point every time. That's the point of that, obviously. We can turn the filters following the key tracking, following the pitch of the note coming in. That can be turned off, so the filters are basically only responding to the envelopes that you might draw in. Samples following pitch, that's really handy for creative use. Just turn off samples being played back to the MIDI note and you basically find yourself with a rhythm machine, which is interesting. I'm actually going to do another video on the sample looping stuff because that is kind of complex and needs another kind of separate dive. But it's interestingly powerful, and I will reveal those powers to you subsequently in another beautiful video. High quality filters, I think we covered this earlier. Some of the, like the OTA, the silent key, state variable possibly as well. I'm not sure about the acid, the ladder. Definitely at high resonant values, the enabling high quality filters can stabilize the sound a little ultimately because it adds a few more cycles of operation into the filter, filter function, and makes it nicer depending on what you define as nicer. That's handy. If you've got the CPU, bung that on. Legato does what legato is supposed to do. Will not re-trigger envelopes if you hold notes down as you're playing the notes. So you get pitch changes, but not the envelopes being re-triggered. And a glide function to move from one note to the next smoothly. Underneath the glide parameter, we've got some polyphony notes. Options. Stick it down to 1 for all your nice bass noises to make sure nothing overlaps. You can go up to 5 for, pads and keys and that kind of thing, if that's how you want to play, and why the hell wouldn't you? And we've got a couple of options here. Just notice that stack 5 is slightly off the screen here, but there's stack 3 and stack 5 for... Obviously, they end up being monophonic modes because all 5 oscillators are... All 5 polyphonic notes are being played at the same time. So there's only one note you can press down at the keyboard at a time. we understand these kinds of things. This is normal for synthesizers. And on the right side, we have some modulation options, apart from the pitch bend range, which is just the pitch bend range option. These up here, you can see, velocity to volume, which is a standard routing. Most patches most expressively played patches will want a velocity to volume configured. So we hardwired that in, and we've got some other expressive possibilities as well. Velocity to crazy things, all the things you might possibly want to map it to in there, and 2 mod wheel targets, very handy, and aftertouch because aftertouch is a thing and some people use it, and pitch wheel to stuff as well, which I always thought was very handy. I love to stick the pitch wheel doing things that aren't pitch bending. And we've got this little arrow here. You can see that it is an inversion arrow. So ultimately, all these modulation possibilities are unipolar. They only go one way, up from the current setting, up from the thing that it's currently set to. And you can reverse that, so it goes down away from the thing that it's currently set to. So, you know, if you turn this on like normally, within velocity to filter, the harder you press the velocity, the more the filter will open. But if you stick it like that, then harder you press velocity, the more the filter will close, will go back to a lower setting. And that's all the modulation options on the back there. There's one other thing up here. There's a couple of other things, but let's just focus on this fun thing here. So we've got, let's just reset this to init. And we have randomise and mutate here. So I think if you use shift to hit this, it will mutate. And obviously you can see the mutation occurs in the form of the knobs slightly moving. And you can see them all those values are changing. And stuff goes a little bit skewy. Look at I know, I did ask Dave to take the pitch knobs out of that. So if we just do a randomise, then all the knobs get randomised completely, including the stereo width and effect depth. I don't know, perhaps even... Yeah, look, the effect type changes as well. So all the things change apart from the main pitch. Yeah. There we go, that's... Have a nice random noise there. Now, I'm just going to cover briefly the looping, because what's a breakpoint envelope? Multi-segment breakpoint envelope without looping possibilities, I hear you say. So let's look at what looping is with regard to the wavetable staging. So let's say, so it's off at the moment. Okay, yeah. So this is just running the freely. We're running. It's not locked to tempo or anything like that. It's just and re-triggered every time we press the note. If we turn loop on, the rate of traversal changes. It's more even. So you can hear it's going whoa, whoa. If I turn the looping off, it starts off fast. So we have a kind of logarithmic journey. I think it'd be called a logarithmic journey through the sort of breakpoint envelope. Starts off fast and slows down. I think the same feature exists in Thump One, the previous plugin that was kind of, you know, the test bed for these plugins, the free. I'll link to it somewhere around here. But in there, we have different paces, different rates for the attack and release stages of that kind of monophonic kick slash bass machine. Lots, too many S's there for me to deal with. So when you turn on loop in here, it kind of linearizes the traveling of the breakpoint through the little travelator, the travelator, through the breakpoint envelope. And this also means it'll loop. So look, if we just make sure the level. So there's something quirky about this, and I'll show you this quirk. If the last step of the envelope, well, any of the envelopes will remain on the when they get to the end of the envelope, they'll remain on the last breakpoint step. So if I hold this down, you can see it'll basically go quiet because the last step, the last breakpoint is at 0. Ultimately, we just want to be able to hold it down to hear it. And if we go back to the pitch, we can see that this is looping, and we can change the rate that it is looping based on this value. So if we slow it right down again, we put it back up to where it was, which was kind of, this is now 4 times the speed that it would be if we were just double clicking. We can double click it back to normal. So we can basically change the you see what's going on here. We can loop these breakpoint envelopes arbitrarily. They can be kind of disconnected from each other. So we can have this one, say, doing... let's just do some crazy irrelevant things here. Let's do that, and we'll make the FM envelope do some nutty things. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Let's just turn that right down there to some crazy low enharmonic value. Loop that, and then we'll turn that, I don't know, up or down, who knows. And basically now these 2 envelopes are moving differently to each other. Oh, just love it. And you can do that with all of these. So we could do it with the position. We could just add like a... Let's do... If we loop that, that's not been looped, let's just loop that and make it super slow. So as well as multiplying the rate of the breakpoint, so it's going super fast. Mad, that's mad. We can make it super slow, so divided by, I think, up to 32. So we're travelling through the wavetable super slowly, but like mangling it like this and like that. And experiencing this joyous sound. Oh, that was a nice bit. Oh, there's a bit of wobbling back there. So, obviously, yeah, this kind of disconnecting the breakpoints from each other is where the fun chaos stuff starts to happen. Oh, God, I can't stop doing this. Let's just move that. Let's make that well low. Put that some stupid high. Turn that up. Yeah, self-FM that damn thing. For goodness sake, someone self-FM that. Oh, all the noise. Oh, yeah. It's Unison, that spread it out a bit. So I seem to have held on this strangeness longer than perhaps originally intended. Let's just whack that down. Oh, yeah. This is without even any filters. This is just doing me own dang thing. Ooh. Right, well, I've listened to this for long enough. Have I? Maybe not. Oh. Ah. Crusty sizzles. This is... Oh, yeah, honestly, I could sit and listen to this madness for far too long. So I think we will end the video here and there and now, here and just now. And I will do a couple of other videos, one that covers the vocoder and one that covers the looping in the sampler, because that does a bit of different stuff as well. We've got these options up here. I will cover them in that because they the joy becomes clear when we do it like that. Thank you for attending. Let's just see if we can do whatever craziness. Something like this here. Let's do this. I'm going to let's just change. I'm going to change waveforms to whatever that is. Okay. Ooh. Yes, please. Just stick a bit of... give it a space to do its madness in. Oh. Okay. Oh, what happened? There was a thing at the end there that startled me somewhat. Thank you for coming. Please enjoy your experience with our new synth Buzz Zone, and keep an eye out for the other videos which will deep dive into some of the quirks and nuances of this delicious little synthesizer. Thank you for coming. Enjoy your beautiful day. Toodle-doos. Ta-ra. Thanks for coming.